Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to yet another session of AlumSpeaks On The Go. The topic for today's session is innovations and trends in technology. And we have a special guest from the batch of 2000 Triple M, if I'm not wrong, Sanjay Podder. So quickly to introduce our speaker and the host for the day, we have Sanjay Podder as a guest speaker for the session. Sanjay is from the batch of 2000 of Triple M of KJ Somaiya Institute of Management. He's currently the managing director of Accenture Technology Innovation for Africa and Asia Pacific region, and he's also the regional head for Accenture Labs in Asia Pacific and leads Accenture's software engineering, R&D, and global tech for good programs. One of the exciting things about Sanjay is that he holds over 20 patents in artificial intelligence, which is applied to software engineering and process automation. He's considered to be a tech guru or a tech leader in the industry when it comes to his recognition. He's also a member of the NASSCOM ER&D Council and was recognized as an Eisenhower Fellow in 2017 for his work to accelerate societal transformation with technology. Sanjay, we welcome you to the session.
Thanks, Arvind.
Sure. Moving on, our host for the session, Upendra Namburi. Most of you know him by now. He's an alum from the batch of 1996. He's a business leader with rich experience in insurance, payments, credit cards, loyalty, and banking. He has a startup. He's the founder of Idea.co. Previously, he has been the Chief Innovation and Marketing Officer for Bharti AXA. He's worked with companies like ICICI, ABN AMRO, and so on. An interesting snippet or a feature about Upendra would be that he is a best-selling author as well, which probably a lot of people do not know that side of Upendra. He's been a best-selling author for about 3 books. He's an Abbey Award winner, a columnist, and a speaker at various forums. So, Upendra, we welcome you as well. And I hand over the session to you and Sanjay. Maybe one last announcement from my side. We have muted all the participants so that to avoid any sort of disturbance, and the videos have been disabled so that to avoid any sort of lag. The session will go on till about 4 o'clock. After 4, we have a quick networking session for all the alumni who are present. So the session will go on from 4 to 4:30, wherein alumni will be able to network with each other. Yeah. Over to you, Upendra and Sanjay.
Right.
Thanks, Arvind.
Hey, Arvind, thanks so much. Sanjay, pleasure catching up with you. Thanks for taking the time. All right. So Sanjay, you've got a crazy amount of experience in technology. So what I thought would be great is if you can quickly help us understand in Accenture, what does your role entail in a nutshell?
Right. So I'm a pretty old timer in Accenture. So my present role, I am responsible for driving innovation for our clients in every part of the globe, barring North America and Europe. So we call it the growth market, right? So that includes, Africa, Asia Pac, LATAM, and so my job is to see what are the latest technology innovations happening. How will it help our clients to be even more successful? And one of the area I think which is very intertwined, and I have been driving it also in parallel, is how does it shape up the society that we live in, right? So there's an interplay between our business and the society and the larger ecosystem. So that's in summary is my role, Upendra, to drive innovation for our clients.
All right, wonderful. So as I say, great people have this amazing knack of simplifying what they do to the level that it sounds, oh, is it as simple as that? All right. So to get things off, Sanjay, so after we spoke a couple of weeks back, I was reading up on the stuff that you've written. And there's something which you said which kind of struck me. So you said every business today is a digital business. And at some extent, it's a fairly deep and profound statement. Can you kind of help us through your thought process on that? What does it really mean?
Sure. And I won't take credit about that particular catchphrase in our sentence because what my organization does in Accenture every year, we create a technology vision. to guide our clients, to guide the business at large, as well as the overall community. And every year we have a tagline, which kind of summarizes what we see next 3 years, 5 years. Every business is a digital business is what the way we summarized in 2013. In fact, when digital was just getting ready, just coming, in the marketplace. In a lot of sense, we guys popularized the word digital, and for IT companies to even start reporting on their digital revenue in particular. But to your question, what do we really mean by every business is a digital business? Uh, the first thought that comes to our mind when we hear the word digital is obviously technology, right? And what all of us have been experiencing, whether it is at work or in our own lives, we are seeing a tsunami of technologies. This is one generation, it is our generation, Upendra. We have seen so much. We are from a generation which had to wait 8-10 years for a landline phone. But we have seen the evolution of mobile phone, for example. That's something that was not even, my kid doesn't believe that there was a world before when people didn't have a mobile phone, right? So we have seen technology not only coming at us, they're coming at us at a very fast pace, right? And uh, on its own, they can really do a lot, but when they come in combination, they can do even bigger impact, right? So digital, the word digital, the first thing that comes in our mind is technology.
Sure.
But that's not why we say that every business is a digital business, because what we saw at that point in time, 2013, was these technologies were enabling businesses to do things, which was earlier not possible, and which is so critical for business. So if you ask me, digital is obviously technology, but it's a lot more than technology. And we said that unless businesses embrace those extra things, and I'll come to what are those extra things, they won't survive, forget thrive. And at that point, there were technology companies, the Infosys and Accentures and Apples of the world. And then there were the brick and mortar companies. So in 2013, when we said that every business is a digital business, what we were trying to tell at that point, irrespective of the industry you are in, you can be an oil and gas, you can be retail, you can be banking, irrespective of the industry you are in, your future is dependent on adoption of technology. Your future is dependent on how well you bring this set of technology to redefine yourself, to redefine your strategies, to redefine your experiences, right? So that was a thought behind saying every business is a digital. It was a wake-up call. Every business is a digital business. So don't even think that, okay, I am used to my brick and mortar life. This is how things will be forever. We said it's not going to be forever. Things are going to change, and if you are not, moving into the digital space at the earliest and embracing digital, your existence is questioned, a big question mark. And this is based on a lot of research. If you look at the Fortune 1000 companies, the mortality rate is very high.
Right.
And research has shown that companies which do not change, which do not adapt to the changes, right? That is significantly important attribute of a company, or also for individuals. There was some saying, it's not the strongest that survive. The species that survives is the one that evolves
Right.
fastest, right? Same for business. So that was the whole idea. It's a very profound statement. Every business is a digital business, but that was the central idea about why we were giving a wake-up call to businesses, saying, hey guys, have a look at yourself. If you are not embracing digital, you're going to face a lot of headwind going forward.
So, Sanjay, and I love having these conversations with technologists. So, assume I'm a business leader, and let's say I'm a business head for a mattress company. All right. What does being a digital business mean for a guy selling mattresses?
Yeah. So now we are coming to real examples, right? When I said
Yes.
every business. So when you do, go back to my earlier response, Upendra, when I said digital is more than technology. Technology is the enabler, but digital is gives you an ability to embrace a better strategy,
Okay.
a better purpose, a better culture. Okay, let's take your example, mattress. If I tell you what is the purpose of a mattress, you know, and I hope we had the participants in, we could have debated. One may say, oh, we just crash for 5 hours, 8 hours, 9 hours, whatever one loves to, the amount of time one loves to sleep. True, but think about it. There's one company which creates one of the best cars in the world, and uh, they don't think about themselves as a car maker.
Right.
They think about themselves as a mobility organization, right?
Sure.
Similarly, a mattress. What is the purpose of a mattress? One of the main reasons, one of the main why people fall sick is sleep deprivation, right? A lot of people in the world are sleep deprived, and that has been found to be one of the big reasons why it leads to issues with wellness and
Sure.
later on leading to illness. So something like mattress, you can actually think about an important tool in your wellness process,
Got it.
right? So the moment you think about the larger impact, then you can start thinking about strategies to be not just the roadside vendor selling a mattress, but with digital, creating what? Experiences for people,
Sure.
right? That experience, like uh, a very good example I can talk about is the Philips Hue lights.
Hmm.
It's not just light, just like a mattress. It's just not light. It gives you mood. You can see some Philips Hue light just behind me. I can just change it. If I want to meditate, the lights change. If I want to I concentrate, the light changes. Similarly for mattress,
Hmm.
you can then put digital technologies. Say you can the way the Upendra likes the mattress to be may be different from the way Sanjay likes the mattress to be.
Sure.
And if we are, in India, we don't have much issues with the weather as such. But if you're in a cold country, you may want a mattress to be at a certain temperature, not very hot, not very cold. When you crash, it gives you a warm, nice feeling, right?
Right.
So maybe you can create an ecosystem. I'm not saying you're going to create all those things. There's a whole sleep tech sector.
Hmm.
So the other aspect of digital is your ability to create ecosystems, platforms, as we call it, rapidly, and create new offerings and services for your customers, which are personalized,
So,
right?
Sanjay, help me out here.
So the whole
So,
mattress has
sorry.
become an experience.
Yes.
Okay, and a lot of businesses can, you can create a lot of interesting strategy services with digital around us, you know
Got it. So, if I were to summarize, it's a good part of it is about going back and reframing the way you look at the environment and the competition. The second dimension you pointed out is how you can interact and interface with different members of the larger environment to deliver a greater value to your customer or consumer.
Hmm.
The tech follows, but it's more about reframing the way you look at the customer and the environment. Would that be a fair way of summarizing?
it is a good summary. But it's only a part of the summary. As we talk, we will peel the onion, because the digital onion has a lot of layers. We'll
Absolutely
peel the onion, and we will see how every technology, digital is not one technology, it's a stack. It's
correct.
AI, it's digital ledgers, it's quantum, it's extended reality, it's mobility, it's social, it's analytics, it's a cloud, it's a lot of things. They all work well in combination and isolation, and they bring certain value proposition. So we'll peel the onion. But what you have summarized as well, you have summarized a couple of layers of that onion.
Yes.
The ability to form ecosystem becomes very important.
So Sanjay, help me out here. So for many organizations, so even I've led digital businesses. Um, so you have two kinds of organizations. One are which are already mid-flight. They're running concerns, running teams, doing business. They have reports. They have results to be reported. And then you have another bunch which is getting seeded right now. Okay. So my first question on this is, for many organizations, putting up a website and an app seems to be a very large piece of being digital, correct? So, what is your advice to organizations which are in mid flight and mid air about thinking through what truly being digital means?
Well, this question is well connected even to the previous question, because I agree with you that people get a false sense of compliance when they say I have an app and hence I'm digital. But what I want the people who are attending to this webcast to go home with is that's a very small part of the story, and I personally don't subscribe that technology by itself is only digital. Digital technology is a big enabler, but the digital is about doing business in a different way,
Right.
in a way that morphs and adapts to the changing requirements for business, right?
Sure.
You mentioned all businesses are digital business. That was 2013. But you didn't ask me what are we saying today.
What do you say today?
Our latest tech vision we are saying is, will businesses survive the tech clash?
Okay.
Okay. Now, why are we saying this? When we talk about digital and business, we tend to put ourselves in a box, and we tend to think that, okay, as a business, I have a choice: should I become digital or should I not become digital? What we forget is nobody's waiting for you. The world is becoming digital. Your mother is becoming digital. Your grandmother is becoming digital. Your son is becoming digital. The whole community is getting digital, and they're getting empowered. Take any issue. Government has become increasingly answerable. Why? Because every person is on Facebook.
Correct.
600 million people in the country have mobility in their hand, have computing in their hand, mobile phones, which have computational power and storage much more than the Apollo guidance system that took us to the moon. That's digital, right? Digital is about empowerment. What has
Sure.
digital done? Digital has empowered the community. They have a voice today. I just read today, Amazon Prime sale, 3.5 billion small producers could sell their goods this time. It's the largest thing, right? It's about empowerment. You may be a small craftsman in a village, but you can reach out to any buyer anywhere in the world.
Correct.
Digital is about empowering the community, is about empowering your customers. It's about empowering your own employees. Okay. So for a business which has a website, is it empowering
Mm.
people? See, digital has to be people centric. The question is it empowering people? Does it have a strategy to personalize whatever it does, a product, services, for its consumer,
Sure.
right? Does it use technology to help its own employees by augmenting them with maybe insights when they work so that they're more productive? How many of us in this call have frustrating experience when we call up call centers,
Correct.
right? How many? Almost everyone, right? And we say, oh, what the hell, when will they fix this, right? So digital is a lot of things. And Upendra, as I said, our latest statement is about, will companies survive the tech clash? That's
Right.
because the society in which business operate have become so empowered. If you are a business that is not seen to be a responsible business,
Mm.
you are polluting the environment.
Mm.
You are misusing the privacy of employees, of customers. You are doing things which are not in the larger interest. you get caught. There are so many congressional hearings happening where top business leaders have to go and explain their actions.
Correct.
So while people at large are loving the technology, they are also increasingly fearful, is the technology is being used the right way? And as we say, the only competitive differentiator today remaining is trust for business. If as a business you are not trusted, your consumers will abandon you. Now, how do you build that trust? Obviously through your strategy, to your purpose, but technology plays a very important role in creating organizations that can be trusted. Digital plays a big important role, right? So
Correct.
going to your question, it's not about a website.
Hmm.
It's about the company's attempt to build trust. It's about the company's culture of empowerment. It's about the company's attempt to empower augment its employee. A lot of things, a culture, a strategy, a purpose. This company's ability to reach sections of the market which was earlier not possible for them because of technology. So a lot of things go together. It's not just a website. So to be a digital company, you have to really start thinking differently, and technology is for the first time enabling you to do it. Why were people not doing it in the past? Well, it was not possible to do it in the past.
Correct.
With technology today, you can do a lot more, and digital organizations therefore survive and they do different things.
So, Sanjay, in many organizations, there are change champions, there are change leaders, right?
Mhm.
Now, so I remember when I was setting up digital businesses, be it in cards or insurance, um, many of the challenges, yes, technology, ops, all that was a challenge. But in hindsight, I think the bigger challenge was in influencing, convincing, and molding the mindsets of the people around me. So, simple thing. In digital, you have to show the price in a very transparent manner for any product that you're selling, and it needs to be competitively viable. Whereas in an agent model, it can be a great amount of human influence. So, you worked with a very large number of for profit and social impact organizations. Any good practices that you've seen from leaders and change agents? How do they manage this process of influencing, guiding, and pushing the new agenda in an organization which is already in mid flight?
Are you talking from a context of the non-profit sector, or your?
Both. Because whether you're a for profit or non profit,
Yeah,
there are change agents who need to move the needle
right.
being digital. And there is often resistance from other stakeholders,
Okay. Uh,
the board to the CEO, because you have lip service, but when it
mhm.
comes to rubber beating the road, hey, maybe we're not ready for it.
Yeah.
Anything that you've
So
seen
that
good
is the.
leaders doing,
Sorry, please continue. What was your point?
in a nutshell, what have you seen good and great leaders doing differently, which
Ah,
has helped them mold that change within their organization?
Lovely. That's a good question, and it takes me to the. In fact, maybe participants in this Zoom call can read our tech vision. We are talking about the innovation DNA, how successful businesses, whether profit, for profit, non-profit, will have to build that innovation DNA. We are talking about how innovation has to move from few people doing some innovation in one corner of the organization or business to being more pervasive in the organization, where innovation is a mindset. Innovation is not an option. That I may innovate, I may not innovate. No, innovation is a mindset. I hope I'm still in the call. I just saw Upendra's video disappear. So
No, no,
uh,
sorry. I just had a
oh,
few. I'm
okay,
sorry.
no worries. I thought I got disconnected. So
No,
innovation is a mindset, right? And innovation needs to come from the top. So if you look at, and this is something now businesses get it, at least the successful one, the big ones, Uh, Large businesses today are extremely innovation oriented. It is part of the strategy. It's part of everything they do, and it's part of innovation is everyone's business.
Yeah.
It is not the couple of guys in the labs business, right? But there is also a fact that there's a whole book on innovation, innovators dilemma, and things like that. See, when you innovate, you're in sometimes you are challenging things. You're trying to do something in a different way than what you have been doing traditionally. Okay, and in many cases, you're successful in doing it. If you read that book, Who Moved My Cheese, for example, we
Yeah.
all get trapped in our success formula. Organizations also get trapped, and that is the reason a lot of successful companies they eventually they fade out. Why does that happen? Because once you get that formula, you try to do this again and again and again, and the immunity of that organization kicks in whenever something new idea comes in. The immune system tries to reject it, and
Right.
that goes to your point about, you know if you need to convince leadership, you need to have, negotiate it out. That's true. That is an innovator's challenge that happens. But where things get resolved easier, in a much more easy fashion, is when things come from the top, when there's a culture of innovation, when you are measured on how much innovation you're bringing to what you're doing. Like an organization may start actually reporting on what is their revenue in the new business, right? When that happens, uh, and you incentivize the leaders that make innovating in their business is something that is expected from them, that becomes a part of their result area or performance indicator, then things start falling in place. you know
And
I think businesses have learned a lot of, they're in different stages of maturity, but we do talk about the innovation DNA. We also talk about how do you go about creating that culture, that organization. How do you bring new ideas and thoughts to change your business strategy?
okay. So Sanjay, I used to bear this very hefty word of innovation in my last designation, and I've always struggled with this. Um, should the focus be on innovation, or should the focus be on moving the needle on a metric? Because sometimes I see people getting confused between the two.
Could you explain to me what you meant by the later, moving the needle in the metrics?
All right, so let's put it this way.
Hmm.
So let's say I needed to reduce my claims from 75% to 70%.
Hmm.
All right. Now, there are two routes for doing it. One is I pick up the earlier nuts and bolts and I sharpen the axe and I do it better. The other is I can say, hey, let me use AI, ML, blockchain,
Hmm.
let me look at visual recognition and do it. But where I really don't know whether it is achievable, there are too many unknowns, I don't have the skill sets for it. So, my question is, quite often I have seen organizations chasing the buzzwords, but more heavily relying on the same axe and getting it sharpened.
Ah, so it will happen when you think of digital as technology only,
Perfect.
right? And right from the start, I'm trying to make that point. Digital is a lot more than just IoT and AI, and uh, it is a set of capabilities organization build. You know, in fact, if I look at this whole stack and I deconstruct it, what is mobility? Why is mobility in digital so important? Because mobile solutions, for the first time, people have got access to computation power, right? How many
Right.
people otherwise in India would have had their own laptops and computers? Very few. But today, 600 million of us have access to high-end computing in our hand. So it democratizes access to knowledge and information. When we talk about cloud, why is cloud so important? For the first time, the storage. the cost of storage, the cost of network, look at geo and all that, the cost of computing, everything is becoming less and less every day. And we
Correct.
all know that, right? What was earlier the computation within the large IBM mainframe, that is which I did my initial programming as a programmer, that is far less powerful than this phone that I'm carrying. Right? So that is, this entire digital technology have democratized access to computation, storage, network, which means even your bhajiwala is using WhatsApp to do business. That's empowerment. And we saw this in COVID time, like anybody could stand up rapidly a low code, no code WhatsApp app, and they're doing business. That's
Correct.
empowerment, right? So digital empowers, as I said. Look at blockchain. People talk about blockchain and this. What is blockchain finally? Or multi-party systems? Any business, any human endeavor is multi-party.
Yes.
But there is a lack of trust in those parties. For the first time, you can build trust networks where you can trust what each of those people are doing. So when you talk about blockchain, don't just talk about blockchain. Think about blockchain. Think about trust. When you
Correct.
think about mobile phones, think about empowerment.
Mm.
When you think about AI, today I can buy any book I want on Amazon
Sure.
right now. If I don't like paper book, I want to read it right now. Right now, I'll get it in my Kindle. What have we done? We are able to now get the last mile, go to the last mile, the long, what do you call the tail of the long tail of the curve. Any book, however rare, wherever in the world, you will get it, right?
Correct.
So that allows you those penetrations, right? Look at artificial intelligence. What is it doing? It is automating processes which human beings in the very first place should not be doing. Very, very mundane processes. Or it is augmenting you with intelligence, which otherwise, was something that would take you X amount of time, you are now doing it in a fraction of time because AI is augmenting you. You may be a doctor and AI is augmenting you with initial analysis saying, okay, yeah, that looks like some issue with his eyes, right?
So
So
yes.
digital is set of empowerment that is happening. You talk about quantum. What is it happening there? Same thing. It is able to organ matching. Take example. You have a sliver of a window to make sure that this guy's organ will match with that guy's requirement. Today's classical computing will not be able to do that. So
Correct.
this entire digital technologies are empowering everyone around us, including businesses, right? So I think that is very important aspect to understand when we talk about digital. So it's not about apps. It's not about I have an application here and there or whatever, right?
Sanjay, another challenge which many business leaders have um, is when it comes to making a choice of a certain technology. So whether it be blockchain, whether it be AR, um, and any aspect of it, right? Even a simple thing like, should I build using React Native or should I make a pure native app? Just to give a simple level example. Um, and at the other end, we know that technology is changing rapidly. So that so many technologists I speak with, they say, you can get all the quantum computing intellect, you will make a choice today. But 99% within 12, 24 months, your choice will change.
Hmm.
So my question to you is, as a business leader, when you are signing off on the check and there is a choice on a technology to be made, any guiding principles that a leader needs to be thinking of before signing that check?
See, the reality is technology will change, and I will be very, very unhappy if it stops changing. Not because I am technologist, but because that is improving our ability to change our world, to shape our world, right? So that's the good news if it is changing.
Sure.
Uh, as a business leader, when you sign up on technology, and I am a tech innovation lead, by the way, I'm making this comment.
Correct.
Do not lead with technology.
Sure.
Nobody sells blockchain or nobody sells AI. You solve problems. You lead with what are you trying to do for your business, for your customers. What is the problem you are trying to solve? When you lead with that thought process,
Mm.
then the choice of technology falls in place. Because you for example, today video calling is not a new technology, but the adoption skyrocketed during COVID times.
Correct.
Probably we would not have even done it with Zoom. I don't know in Arvind normally does what, but every other call is in Zoom.
Yes.
Now the purpose was very clear in today's time. If you want to come as a community and discuss things, collaborate, you need a collaboration platform. So what are
Correct.
your choices of collaboration platform? You can take Zoom, you can take Teams, you can take Google Meet, you can take 5 different things.
Correct.
And then you're signing up not for Google Meet or Teams or Zoom. You're signing up for a collaboration platform which you believe is essential. And then you take a choice, you make a choice based on what is best available that day, right?
Sure.
And your purpose evolves, your choice of technology evolves.
Mm.
So to your question, I would say don't, leading with technology is like putting a cart before the horse. I can't go to any client and say, hey, hi client, I have come here to sell you blockchain.
Absolutely.
You know, so that is very important.
So, Sanjay, I'm going to spice it up a little bit. And ever since you agreed to come onto the show, I've been thinking for someone who has such diverse, you have diversity and you have depth. So, I thought we'll also make it fun. Okay. Um, so, I'm going to throw certain industries at you.
Hmm.
And if you can give us very brief snippets of some exciting, innovative, cutting edge stuff
Hmm.
which you think we can look forward to in the next couple of years.
Okay.
All right. So the first one I'm going to throw at you is an old favorite since I am from that industry, insurance. What do you think is going to happen at the intersection of insurance and technology in India in the next couple of years?
Well, there are a lot of ideas that have been around for long, but nobody seems to be adopting them successfully. But
Sure.
I would love to see a lot more personalized insurance, which is
Okay.
possible with technology. And whether your car, for example, is a common knowledge, the car insurance we buy, what premium you pay and I pay and anybody else pays is the same, irrespective of how good a driver you are or bad a driver you are, whether you are driving 1,000 kilometer or 10,000 kilometer or 100,000 kilometer. It's not personalized.
Sure.
So, but today's technology, you can easily personalize. You can figure out, how good this person is. How Upendra is a much better driver. His accident rate is much lower than Sanjay, so the premium should be different that they pay.
Great.
Health,
Yeah.
similarly, there is some amount, but health today, there's so much of health telemetry, so much of Fitbit, so many things. Every morning you walk 10K, can you get a lower premium because of that? Because you have walked 10K every morning, you are
So,
taking care of your health, so your premium will be lower, as
so
opposed to your
personalization of risk and coverage in a nutshell.
that's a low hanging fruit, right?
Got it.
And as insurance, again, think about the larger purpose which I started off with. Is the
Mm.
purpose of an insurance company to give you money once you fall sick, or is it to prevent you from falling sick?
Sure.
Can you, as an insurance company, say, "Oh, I sell health insurance, but I'm going to prevent you from falling sick"? Because if you don't fall sick, I don't have to. It's good for my business, right? It's win-win. You are
Correct.
healthy, you don't put claims.
Mm.
I'm more profitable.
Okay. So I'm going to pick up something from the audience, and it's in the same drift of what we've been speaking about. Your thoughts in what's going to happen in the education sector?
Education sector is already seeing a lot of changes, right? And I don't know when this COVID stuff will go away, but the more longer it stays, the more longer you will see changes happening.
Sure.
Uh, there will be changes at multiple different dimensions based on who is the student.
Sure.
Right now I am working along with another very well-known company. We are both trying to solve a particular problem in India. For example, like after COVID started, a lot of children in villages are no longer going to school.
Right.
Schools are closed. The connectivity is very poor.
Okay.
How can we successfully we tried out a technology to, despite the challenges, make sure that high quality digital contents can be sent to children in rural communities,
Sure.
and a whole model around that, win-win way. It's not charity.
Got it.
And it's an ecosystem play that I spoke about, right? There are
Mm.
non-profits, there are for-profits, there are business companies. They're all
Mm.
coming to solve a problem that has been around for a long time, the last mile digital connectivity issue, and how do you take digital education to
Right.
children? There's such a good quality content. Um, in general, education for us has been about content delivery. You go to a college, teacher is teaching you something.
Mm.
I think there's a need to have a shift because of MOOCs, for example. Any world-class high-quality content is available for free in the internet.
Sure.
It needs self-discipline to make some time and go through the content. Actually, you don't need to go to physically anywhere to study today. You can be at home and you can study because all the institutions have made such world-class contents available. So does that mean that institutions are no longer needed? Absolutely not. Their job changes.
Mm.
The interaction with students and academia and faculty, the whole interaction therefore shifts to a much more value-added interaction.
Got it.
It's not about 90% of the time teacher is teaching something to a student which is already there. The student can himself learn with high quality multimedia content and make sure that the teacher's time is used very judiciously so that teacher can solve specific doubts or have much more value added interactions so that they can extend or build the body of knowledge.
Got it.
It's more research. So uh, in short, Upendra, I do see that the entire sphere and COVID is going to be the biggest catalyst for this.
Mm.
Even in the IITs, my friends there who are teaching, even they are teaching from home, right? In
Sure.
every place, that is what is happening. But this is giving you an opportunity now
Mm.
to up the game, not talk about the usual courseware delivery. If
Got it.
you are my professor, I don't want Upendra to spend his 8 hours teaching me something that I can learn on my own. But I want Upendra's time to go and say, sir, I didn't understand this. Or what if we do, and that kind of transition will happen once you take the adoption of technology, digital, also taking content to the last mile and things like that.
Okay. So the question coming from Isha, and it kind of fits into what we've been speaking about. A lot of stuff to do with technology and innovation has got a lot to do with seeking data about the consumer. So when you talk about personalized health, or when you talk about smart cars and so on and so forth,
Hmm.
a lot of it is getting much deeper into consumer data. And of course, there's a constant debates about what's the level of privacy and so on.
Very good question. Yeah.
So yes, at one level, we want to be able to customize and personalize everything that we do for every customer and consumer. But what's your suggestion to organizations? How do you navigate this path of data privacy, but yet you're sure that you're not crossing any ethical boundaries?
Yeah. No, I think that's a fantastic question that Isha has asked. I always say that if there's one thing that led to human beings being different from the rest of the species, is fire.
Hmm.
Fire burns, fire builds.
Sure.
But we learned how to use the fire to create rather than destroy, right? Same thing with technology.
Hmm.
Technology can destroy, technology can build.
Hmm.
Especially, it can personalize and it can also use data in a wrong way to
Hmm.
disenfranchise people.
Got it.
or put people to threat.
Sure.
The good news, however, is there's a whole, you know, area of confidential computing, privacy preservation, which is, bias-free systems. So these kind of explainable AI, these kind of systems are all coming up. It is possible for you to personalize homomorphic encryption. It is possible for you to personalize without threatening the privacy of people.
Got
And
it.
for businesses, this is going to be increasingly a compulsion because regulations, what is doing catching up, is coming up fast. So you look at GDPR, for example, in Europe. So if a business is caught misusing the data, the fine is so huge that the business will go out of business, right? And GDPR in Europe is similarly, India is coming up with its own, regulation. Every country is coming up with such regulation.
Correct.
So good news is there's regulatory support. Good news is there is technology available today for you to personalize without putting a person's privacy to at threat. So
Sure.
there are a lot of things happening in this space, and and when I earlier spoke about trust, this is the trust I was talking about. Me and you are very comfortable giving our data to certain companies, right? But we are not comfortable giving our data to any other company. Why? If I go online and somebody is offering me a product at half the cost, but it is in a country that I don't trust, or it is, whereas I have another company that is offering me and I trust that company.
Mm.
I know no harm will come to me. I
Mm.
will give my data. In fact, one of the big things that is going to shift is going to happen as consumers, we will have a right to tell which data, my data can go to whom for what purpose until what date, you know,
Mm.
and the right to be forgotten, which is a very key thing in GDPR.
Yes.
So those are some of the aspects. Absolutely.
Okay. Another interesting question from Aviral Mehta. So Aviral wants to know, which technology have you seen in recent times, which can be disruptive in a positive way?
Okay, I think all of them can be, but one thing, if you ask me, I'm very excited about is, and which is not at this juncture at least very mainstream, but we are using it a lot, is what we call extended reality, or augmented reality plus virtual reality. And because in this COVID times, uh, I can actually go in the cyber world in my office, which is exact physical replica of my office. All I do is wear my Oculus headset, and we all colleagues are in the office, and we can interact.
Correct.
It's 100% replica. So uh, we are taking our clients to our office
Sure.
in the cyberspace, and they feel and look exactly like physical office, right? So I think there's such a huge potential there, because technologies that like that we can use for simulating difficult environments. Like you can be in the comfort of your home, in the air conditioned home, but yet deep inside the mines, and you can go and check out how the things are, right?
Got it.
uh, I'm very excited with that particular technology. Okay, but there are many. We are right now, using artificial intelligence to uh, create a digital persona
Mm.
of a celebrity,
Wow.
and who is no longer alive, and he can talk, he can share his experiences. Children can come and get educated. So the possibilities are, these are all very exciting, right? So the possibilities are huge. So I won't say this is the most exciting of that, because everything is exciting. Today you are limited by your imagination, not by your technology. If you can imagine, there's something there to make it happen.
So, Sanjay, I must ask you this, right? So, we talk about innovation, we talk about cutting edge, and you interact with possibly some of the most fantastic minds on this planet and fantastic teams. So, when you're sitting with a team or an individual who's working on the next big thing, what goes through your mind to figure out whether this is a team I want to collaborate with and work, or this is a team which needs a little more time to mature and come up the curve? what are those things which set off at the back of your head, which says green light, red light?
There may be many things, Upendra, but few things probably would be uh, the teams of the future are multidisciplinary teams. They're diverse. So if you find a team which is not diverse, the diversity on can be on multiple parameters, but uh, successful, good quality teams are multidisciplinary in nature. They have diversity of ideas. If a team does not have that, I would feel it is a very limited team.
Okay.
You know. Uh,
Interesting.
Second thing is maybe a team that is that also looks at how do I learn from others and reuse what is there rather than trying to build everything myself.
Interesting.
You know,
Got
if,
it.
if a team is trying to solve a problem which is already solved in order to solve another problem, then that is a red flag,
Interesting. Okay.
right? So as a team, you have to be open, you have to be multidisciplinary, right? As a team, you have to be have a culture of
Hmm.
unlearning. That's very important. If you have a team that doesn't have that culture, then it's again a red flag.
Got it.
If it is a team where decisions are not data oriented,
Hmm.
there's a saying, no, you can only control what you can measure. So you have to have some metrics and data oriented and structured. Then again a red flag.
Okay.
So there may be many such red flags for a team. I can't exhaust the whole list here, but I'm sure when you're working with teams, if you see any of these kind of uh, aspect, then probably it should trigger in your mind that there is some improvement required.
Got it. Um, the next dimension is quite often when you have I will say, an approach and technology which is still untested, which doesn't have any past historical data. It's really pushing the boundaries, right? And I'm sure you come across many such instances in your day to day work. How do you take a call which one to back and which one to let go?
Very good question, Upendra. I think as innovators, you will always have this challenge
Correct.
because not everything that is coming today will be equally impactful, and sometimes things are before time. Because if we look at AI, AI has come and gone many times. You had AI winters,
Hmm.
people forgot AI. Again, AI has come because there were other developments happening, underlying developments. So typically, I like to look at it as a horizon one, horizon two, horizon three kind of framework, where horizon one is more about technologies which are relatively matured, and I would say new applied now, right? You're trying to use it. Like today, for example, AI is horizon one, data science, AI, deep learning. There is nothing, there's no big question mark around whether it will be useful.
Sure.
People know it is useful. It's about how do I do it,
Correct.
right? Your horizon two might be, the technology is still a bit far away. It's not yet ready for big time, but it there may be a high probability that those kind of technologies will make it. Like I just give you an example of extended reality and virtual reality. Not so long back, few months back, people felt that technology is not going to really see much business impact. At least it's still some time. But then COVID happened, and suddenly those technologies are becoming hot, right? And then you may have technologies which are fairly ahead, neuromorphic computing, quantum, where there is still a question mark because there are a lot of unsolved questions around that technology, but there is a lot of promise as well in that technology.
Hmm.
So as an organization, you have to take a right balance because, as they say, a fit in today and a fit in tomorrow. You have to take that kind of a balance so that in your innovation organization, you have a very good mix of what you're exploring. And other thing is, be ready to fail fast.
Okay.
Innovation is all about trying, failing, trying, failing, trying, failing. Be have that mindset, right? You do rapid iterations, you try new things. In the process, you learn new things. You figure out what are the innovation gaps, what the technology can do today, but what does it not do today? You know, what do we have to do to further build, wait for that development in that space,
Hmm.
and where can we therefore use it and where we should avoid using it.
Got it.
So there are a lot of questions around that as you create your innovation strategy.
Um, Now, in the last few minutes, you've touched upon extended reality, AR, biogenetics. You've crossed so many things. So, my question to you, I think, is as a professional and as a learner, uh, any tips for business folks who don't understand tech? What are some smart ways of being on a learning journey, being relevant, and not getting ticked off by the fancy terminology?
So for one, I have seen, I don't believe when people say everybody has to be a coder. A lot of people say, programming is the next skill. Everybody should be learning programming skill. I think that is bullshit.
Sure.
You know, uh, if I use a metaphor of a building being constructed, programming is maybe equivalent to the masons and the bricklayers and many other equally important roles.
Hmm.
But the whole technology space is a lot more than just a bricklayer's work. There is design, there is architecture, there is aesthetics, there is purpose. I think not everybody should become, because technology is not the only industry, though every business is a technology business. I think the most important aspect is your domain specialization. You lead with your domain special. If you're a doctor, you think about, you're an eye specialist, you lead from there, and you then say that what kind of technologies are available today that can help me do better diagnosis. you know are there AI technologies that are helping do better retinal scans?
Yeah.
What are those AI technologies? What is the best in the market? Are there, you don't have to learn deep learning algorithms that it uses to figure out. So I think there is a huge confusion, in at least in many sections of the marketplace, where people think that to be tech savvy is to know how do I code.
Hmm.
That's not is not needed. I think the digital world will be driven not by the CIOs,
Hmm.
but the CMOs, the CXOs, everybody. All the procurement guy will use the best of the digital technology. The marketing guy will do. The HR guy will do. You know, so that is very important to understand. So if you are in a technology business, my answer would be different. But if you're in a non-technology business, when I say non-technology business, I don't mean that your business is not a digital business. Your business is a digital, but your core purpose is maybe you're a retail.
Correct.
You lead with your purpose of retail and then figure out how technology will help you, which technology will help you. That is a much easier journey than looking at technology in isolation. It's like putting the cart before the horse.
Hmm. So, Sanjay, as we head towards the conclusion of today's chat, I wanted to touch upon two things,
Hmm.
and some of them inspired by the questions coming from the audience as well. Um, One is, any tips for companies which are trying to innovate and break free? Um, any tips in terms of what they can do well and pitfalls that they need to be aware of?
Well, we discussed a lot in this
Yeah.
call, and probably you might have also seen some patterns emerging out of it. I always say, uh, do not lead your thought with technology in mind. Do not get overwhelmed with all these terms like quantum and AI and blockchain, then in the very first step you are going to fail.
Correct.
You lead with your purpose in mind.
Mm.
What are you trying to do? And technology is the brush with which you are going to paint.
Sure.
But you think about the painting you want to do. What are you painting? You're painting a landscape, a portrait. What is your purpose? And then use the best technology, the best brush. Don't just go with the, I'm selecting a brush and now I have to figure out what the hell am I doing with it. You know, so that is one pitfall to avoid.
Got it.
So and don't go with all the uh, a lot of what you call media messages around. AI will kill or take all our jobs, destroy humanity. There's a lot of around technology. People create a lot of mystery.
Sure.
So try to demystify that by reading it. you know so I think, and third is there are a lot of very good options today in the marketplace, including cloud based services. If you're a new business, don't try to build everything on your own, like I need my own server, own software. Go as a service. For example, your CRM is available as a service. You name it. Your ticketing system is available as a service. They may be cheaper for you.
Correct.
And you are not a product company. You don't create your own product unless there's a gap. you know so there are many such things, Upendra, and as a business you should think through all this before you jump into the technology space.
All right. So, Sanjay, for the grand visionary and the deeply knowledgeable person that you are, my sign off question. So, if you were to look at India over the next 3, 5 years, all right,
Hmm.
and you did not have a budget constraint, okay, um, which are the three areas that you would like to pick up to help India progress? And what specific problem in that would you tackle?
No, I think first of all, we are doing a lot of cutting edge work in India today. The government has attempted with Aadhaar and JAM trilogy, Jandan Aadhaar, and all the kind of digital India program has been fairly ahead of the curve, even compared to other countries. Because
Yes.
I do consult a lot of other countries who are trying to do something similar that what India has done. So we have to be proud of what our country has achieved. A billion people having Aadhaar and then the ability to do digital payments and whatnot, Bheem, that's a tremendous thing. But those are the foundation the government has laid for us. I think there are a lot of sectors where we can drive rapid innovation. I said education for one. These are like fundamental public service areas. Healthcare is the other. Look at what happened to us in COVID, and COVID is not a one-time problem. Tomorrow you may have another pandemic or whatever, right? This is like happening, so we have to be ready. So for India, making sure that whether it's telemedicine or having a good medical record system is very important. Financial inclusion is very important for India. Only 154 of every 1,000 adults, only 154 people have a loan accounts. So because there's no credit rating, so India can rapidly build credit rating, alternate credit rating systems. Be based on maybe purchase history or mobile phone usage, so that people can take lot credit. Very important. There may be a lot of opportunities to empower our vulnerable section, including women. You know so I think if you ask me, health, the fundamentals should be strengthened. This is my we saw the whole unorganized labor, which is 80-90% of our workforce is all unorganized. How do we organize them, give them access to healthcare, insurance, all the government protections? So there are many things we can do. At least India is a problem rich country, which is very important for an innovator. There's no shortage of problem. There's a shortage of intent to solve the problem. So we should just take that problem and use and solve it. Pick anyone and solve it so well that people love it. You know.
All right. So, on that note, Sanjay, thanks so much for your time. I love the way that you have a positive spin on India having a lot of problems. I've never heard something like that. So, that's my key takeaway. Learned a lot from you, as I was expecting. Very enriching. Got some good questions from the audience. So, thank you so much. And
Thanks
I
for having me.
and I hope you will have many hundred more patents to go in your rich career forward. And I hope you continue your time and passion in the nature as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me today.
All right. Thanks so much, Sanjay. God bless.